last couple of years, it's been clear. The shift to mirrorless is no fad. Mirrorless cameras are here to stay. So about 18 months ago, I bit the bullet. I bought my first Nikon Z6 camera. But only in the last year or so have I been using mirrorless exclusively. Yep, I even sold my precious D850. Nobody needs that many megapixels. I've got this big printer behind me and I still don't need that many megapixels. This video is not an exhaustive review of the Nikon Z6, just my thoughts on the system as it relates to my day-to-day work as a headshot and portrait photographer. Here's what I really like. The facial autofocus features are amazing. These are game changers. The eye tracking just works as advertised. The camera just follows the eye and face, which lets me build a better relationship and better connection with the subject while I'm shooting. I'm not burying my head in the camera like this, trying to compose my shot while blocking my view of the subject. It's just a much more engaging and friendly experience as a portrait photographer. The eye tracking is fantastic, of course, for headshots, but it's also great for chasing around my own kids. Kids, as we know, move in unpredictable ways, to say the least. The camera will just keep up. It keeps ahead of your iPhone, too. Size and weight. Carrying this around saves me definitely a few pounds when you add up the little bit of incremental improvements in weight in each camera body and lens. Doesn't sound like much, but the combined space savings is huge. It lets me fit in another light or some lighting modifiers, which really help define more my photography style than this specific camera that I'm using. I really love the idea of the what you see is what you get mentality when shooting mirrorless cameras. You're going to see exactly the exposure as it's going to appear on the frame right in the back of the camera. So if you've never shot in manual mode before, it couldn't be a better time to learn. Just dial in the look that you want and shoot. It's a great way to really understand the differences that each little change in aperture, shutter, or ISO will make. The seamless video features these days are amazing on the Nikon Z6. I'm shooting more and more videos every day just because it really is just a push of a button. On my SLR bodies, I just couldn't get over the hump in kind of getting comfortable in shooting video. It just seemed a little bit more of a stretch. There were a lot more things to switch over and settings to get comfortable with. The Z system really just makes it more seamless. In fact, I've been really pretty consistent on these YouTube videos with the help of the Nikon Z6. I'm shooting everything that you see here on my YouTube channel on my Z6 cameras. Now, of course, things aren't perfect. Nikon does still have some work to do. Canon does too. The Z6 and Z7, currently the higher end of the Z series line, still only have one memory card slot. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's just fine. I'm getting along just fine without two cards. Would it be nice to have? Sure, but not a big deal for what I'm doing. It does seem, though, that based on the most recent release from Nikon, two slots are going to be in the future for the next release of the higher end camera. So I'm not going to sweat it. I will say, though, that these little XQD cards are amazing. They're fast, they're a lot more robust and durable than the SD cards. Another thing that could use a little bit of work is the smartphone connectivity. Now, I don't know, call me picky, but I think the app should be just farther along in the process. The whole thing just feels a little clunky. It's just not conducive for a professional workflow. It's okay in a pinch, if you're trying to transfer just a few photos onto your phone, but it just doesn't seem to have a place in a professional workflow. So I really like to see some improvements here. And the lens releases have been a little slow. The basic focal length selections are out, and they're great. There are great lenses, and I will say the 85 1.8 is probably my favorite lens now. It's my workhorse. It's light, it's compact, and it performs just as well as my previous 85 1.4 performed, if not better. So it's great. But I am still waiting on that precious 70 to 200 for the Z series camera. I don't know what happened with that release, but something sure went wrong because that lens has been delayed for months and months. So hopefully in the near future the lens will be out and we'll all have it in our hands. But in the meantime, the 85 is working pretty well. In fact, I'm even wondering if I even really need to order that one. But we'll see. So that's it. What are you shooting with and why? Let me know. Most of my channel revolves around helping my own headshot clients come in, just getting them better prepared for headshots. But would you like to see more gear reviews or just kind of my general take on gear or kind of how I'm using the equipment that I do have in my studio as a working portrait photographer? Let me know. Maybe there's something that you could benefit from.